Hi everyone and welcome back to the next diecast. For today's video I'll be showing you and reviewing this 1/18 scale Lamborghini Gallardo Coupe made by Maisto. This is a good model overall from Maisto. It's no longer being made. I'm actually not too sure when it was last made. It came out around 2004 when the real Gallardo Coupe was released. And they made it, I think, maybe until like the mid-2000s, the model. And this is based off the 2004 to 2006 Gallardo because of how the front end looks and like the wheel designs and the interior and whatnot. But overall, in terms of detailing and everything, I think this is a good model to have, especially when compared to higher end models of the same car. And towards the end of the video, I'm also going to be comparing some of the details that you see in the Gallardo Coupe to the details you see in the Gallardo Spyder, which are both made by Maisto. And then you can kind of, I guess, see from there which one you would prefer to get, because there are a few differences in them. And I thought, you know, why not? Because I have both of these models. I figured I would do a little mini kind of comparison on them. So we'll get to that towards the end of the video here. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the details of the model here. I think Maisto did a great job with these headlights. There's no peg to be seen. The bulbs are kind of cast separately in this kind of chrome plastic, and they look very well done. The background kind of has like that grayish look to it. And also the fit and finish is very nice too, of all the lights, even the tail lights too. They're very, there's no like wide gaps in between the lights and like the hood or the metal work or anything like that. The Lamborghini badge here looks very good. And also the paint, as you can tell, very, very nice job. It has like a metallic yellow look to it. This model also came in black, I think maybe an orange, and a couple of other colors too. The black version has kind of a grayish interior, and the rest I think have the black interiors. These lower grills down here, similar to the Spyder, they're just kind of solid pieces, but at least they look fairly well done, especially when you see from like a distance. All right, we take a look at the side here. I like these wheels on the Gallardo Coupe here. They kind of look like flowers a little bit, but Maisto does a nice job with kind of molding out like the spokes and everything. There's actually smaller spokes in between, like up there. You can see they do a nice job with that, like little detailing. You can see a little Lamborghini badge in the center there, along with those lug nuts that look like they're actually three-dimensional. And then you have the nice disc brake and caliper too. Disc brake doesn't move with the wheel like most Maistos, but at least it looks good. Like they did a nice job with detailing it. And of course, you do get the full steering system on here and the suspension too. Not very much suspension because this car is so low, but at least you get it in general. Mirrors look slightly cheap with this plastic. I don't think they really did like a metallic paint job on the mirrors, but if you look at them from far away, they do kind of match up with the paint, but because the light's kind of shining on it now, you can really tell it's not like the same paint as like the metal parts of the body. But even so, the mirrors are nice and sturdy, and they're the right shape, so that's nice to see. They do a nice job with these vents along here. They aren't perforated, but at least they look well detailed. And speaking of vents, the vents in the back here, they are perforated. These are actual vents along the sides and actually on the engine cover too. They look very, very like well done. And then down here you got the Lamborghini inscription, and you can really see this like metallic paint sparkle. Like it really looks awesome in the light. And they do a nice job with these taillights too. They look just like the taillights on the Spyder. No pegs to be seen or anything like that, and they're full plastic pieces. This model was actually given to me by a friend I went to high school with, if I forgot to mention, so I got it for free, so thank you to him. And I thought it was really nice to get it because, you know, it looks good with the Spyder if it is on, you know, if you put them next to each other on a shelf and whatnot. Yeah, also on the back here you do get the grills, kind of like the front, but they're just like the front. They're just solid pieces. Then you get a nice Italian license plate down here. Exhaust pipes do look a bit cheap though, and maybe a little bit too small too, but I'm not really too sure on that. But yeah, a lot of similar like nice details to the Spyder, which I'll get into towards the end of the video here. You do have an opening front trunk. There we go. Not too much to see in there. They do a nice job with like the texture in here and like the shape of like the trunk piece and this little like latch here too. And there is a liner underneath. Now taking a look at the engine, we'll open that up. Oh, just opened up like so. Maisto did a really awesome job with this engine. I'd say it's even more well detailed than like their Gallardo Super Leggera engine. Multiple pieces. They're all three-dimensional. You can see all like the hoses and pipes like back here. The Lamborghini inscription kind of pops out like as a three-dimensional piece. They just do an awesome job with this. And you can see all the way down to the bottom of the car too. There's some like chrome detailing down there. One of Maisto's better engines, I would say, for sure. All their Lamborghini engines, I think, are very well done. Even their more recent Lamborghini models, like the Huracan Performante and the Centenario, their engines aren't nearly as detailed as this one, but they all kind of have the same thing in common in that they're not just like one plastic slab. They actually have depth to them, and they're like actually like very well detailed. There is a liner underneath here. The vents just go through to the liner, so you can't see like all the way into the engine with these vents, but at least they have them as actual vents, like etched metal into the metalwork. I think that's a really like cool touch that they did. But yeah, just a very well done engine overall. We'll take a look at the interior next. Open up these doors. They do not open very wide at all. I'm not really sure why they didn't just do dog leg hinges so they could actually open wider. At least they opened to begin with, but the angle's way too small. There's an auto art version of this Gallardo out there, and those doors do open all the way, and they look a lot more, you know, like realistic in that sense. But this is a budget model, so you just kind of get what you get. They do a nice job overall with this interior. You can see on the door panel, nice leather pattern, and some nice silver aluminum detailing here. And there is a little like window button. It's kind of hard to see, but they do put that in there too. Nice looking seats, look and feel like the real leather that's on the real car. And they do move a little bit too, like they have like the adjustable seat backs. I can't see any seat belts. Maybe they're just tucked away really far back and I can't see them. But at least the seats and like the seat belt receiver things look like they're well done. And you do get a full roof liner too, which looks very nice. There are some little buttons and sun visors. It's just very hard to kind of show that here. There's a better angle slightly. Yeah, and there's actually a nice pattern on the roof too. Detailing on the center console is also very well done. All the little buttons are separately labeled. You can see like all the radio dials and stuff, and like the little it looks like maybe the trunk release or something back there. And the shifter is also really nicely done in like the silver. I don't know if the whole thing should be silver or just the tip. I think on the real car the whole thing is just silver or chrome, but it kind of creates like a nice like accent feature on this interior. So I do like that. And you also get the nice pattern on the dashboard here. There's no Lamborghini inscription on this side though. I would think they would have had one on the real car, but maybe they didn't. I'm not really sure. This is the original Gallardo from like 2004, so I know that they redesigned it a little bit in 2009 with the LP 560-4. So they probably added some, you know, features and details to the real car at that point. Nice looking steering wheel too, has that same kind of leather pattern on it. There is a badge in the center, you just really can't see it in this lighting. There we go, that's a little bit better. I don't know if it should be colored in or not, but at least it is kind of molded in, so at least that looks nice. And you do get the pedals down here. I may actually end up painting them silver so you can actually see them better. And just because I like to paint my pedals silver, it kind of makes like a nice like brushed aluminum look to them. Let's take a look at the undercarriage next. Not really too much to see down here. The real car has all these panels just like you see here. But there is some nice detailing back here. A lot of those engine components you see from above, you can actually see down here too, which is very nice. There's actually some like kind of gold painting down here too. This might be the oil pan or something, I'm not really sure, but all the engine detailing you can see down here too. So you can tell Maisto actually made a lot of effort in crafting this engine for this Gallardo model. Now, as I did mention, Maisto also makes the Gallardo Spyder, or they used to make it. This one's going to be easier to find probably because they only recently just stopped making this one. I think until 2019, which is actually when I got this one at Sam's Club. The Gallardo Coupe they haven't made for quite some time, but when they did make it, they made it for maybe about like 10 years or so. But both are pretty similar in terms of details. I'll just kind of do like a quick little overview here. The fronts are pretty much the same. They have the same like nice detailing with like the badges and the headlights. The same kind of wide gap here too, but that makes it easier to open up the hoods. Wipers look slightly better on this one than they do on the Spyder, but really not by much. They have identical like luggage compartments too. Pretty much the same detailing, same size pieces. They both have the liner underneath the hoods too. They're not really different in that sense. The paints though, they're two different colors here, but this one has like the metallic sparkle to it, and that I think makes it look slightly more appealing than the Gallardo Spyder here, which just has a regular kind of like light blue. I'm not saying that the light blue isn't gorgeous, because it is. This came in other colors, the Spyder. It came in like silver and I think like a burgundy. I don't know if they're metallic or not, but I know that all the colors that came on the Gallardo Coupe that Maisto made, they're all like a metallic color. With the exception of maybe the black. I don't know if that's a metallic or not. Wheels are different, of course. I think the Spyders are slightly more detailed because the brake discs aren't like chrome like you see on here. They're actually painted in silver. Makes it look slightly more realistic in that sense, but not like a huge deal or anything like that. This one has better detailing with the vents because it's more like they're actual vents. You can see through them. This one, I think these are supposed to be perforated vents on the real car, but I need to look into that. But it would have been nice if they at least maybe painted a little bit of black here and there so they look kind of like they're vents. But this one I think wins in that sense. But again, it's not like a huge difference or anything like that. The engine detailing on both is very well done, as I showed. The engines themselves look a slight bit different because this one, of course, is the convertible, so they kind of had to reshape some stuff in here a bit to kind of fit like where the top goes, I think. But yeah, same. They both have the nice like raised up Lamborghini inscription and whatnot. They all have, or they both have like the separate pieces like throughout the engine. You can actually see all the way down to the bottom of both too. You get a plastic liner, so close that up. The suspension is better on this one than it is on this one. You can't really get much on here at all. Both have, you know, the good steering and whatnot. Now the interiors are where the details actually do get kind of different. So on this one here, the center console or the center stack is actually slightly different because they added that navigation screen in 2006, which is when the Spyder was actually first introduced. So it's different in that sense. And over here you see kind of the same shaped center stack, only there's like a smaller screen. It might just be like a clock or something, and there's no like GPS screen. On this one, the buttons are a lot more like pronounced and like well detailed. On here, they are nicely detailed, but they're kind of harder to see. Not just because the camera's weird right now, but in general, if you look right at them, this one, I think the buttons are a lot more like pronounced and more like visible and whatnot. This steering wheel has a nicer looking badge on it with like the silver ring. This steering wheel on the Coupe, it just has kind of like a faded silver circle, and the logo's there, but it's not like colored in or anything like that. The shifters and parking brakes are different because they did change some things for the Spyder. The gauge clusters are slightly different too, but they're both stickers, so you can't really compare them too much in that sense. The dashboard on the Spyder actually has a Lamborghini inscription, whereas the one on the Coupe does not. I don't know if on the real car they just added that as like an update, but you don't see it on here. And also the vents look better in this one too. You can see they have a nice kind of silver trim around them, whereas on the Gallardo Coupe they're just kind of like raised up circles. If I can, yeah. All right, now you get a better sense of how the center stack looks with the buttons that aren't really like that well visible. And the seats are the same in the sense that they're the same shape, although on this one you do get that nice kind of like white insert in the center. I don't know if on the Coupe they came with the inserts or not, but this one actually I think has a nicer texture. But these I think look nicer because they have like that nice like insert in the center here. Door panels. This one, although they're painted on the inside, on the Gallardo Coupe, they actually do paint the door handle in this area silver. I think it should be silver on this one too, but they just do it all white. Not a big deal or anything, but it would have been nice if they had done that little like extra detail. I think in the end it really all comes down to if you want the Spyder or the Coupe. You could always get both, and this would be a fun project to like swap the wheels on. If you wanted to put like the Coupe's wheels on the Spyder, or like maybe switch the seats around, this would be an easy project because these are pretty much the same car, but they just have slightly different details because on the real Gallardo they changed some things around, like on the interior and the engine in like 2006. So, but it just goes to show that although Maisto could have just, you know, slapped this interior from the Coupe in here and called it a day or use the same engine, but no, they actually went the extra mile to make the proper details with like the changes that you see on the center console here and on the dashboard, and like the difference in like the seats and like the engine and even the wheels too. So that's kind of nice that Maisto does that. So back to the Gallardo Coupe here. I think overall it's a very well done model. If you can find it, they do turn up on eBay fairly consistently. So if you can find one for a good price, I highly recommend buying it. As always, thanks for watching. I hope this kind of different video was good. I don't usually do these like comparison videos, but I figured because I have two of these Gallardos in the house that I would just give it a go. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below with your thoughts on either one of these models here.